Tony, what is actually happening to an inquiry when a business takes too long to respond?
Every hour that passes reduces the probability of converting that inquiry. Not because the prospect has made a decision against you, simply because the moment has cooled and the window has narrowed.
So, how should a business think about follow-up speed? Is it just a process problem?
The follow-up speed is not a logistics issue, it is a customer value efficiency issue.
Welcome to the new era of customer value efficiency. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Robert.
What you just heard from Tony Carter, the founder of Value Recovery Systems, goes straight to the heart of what this episode is about.
Most service businesses know their follow-up could be faster, but very few have stopped to calculate what that gap is actually costing them.
This is the second episode in our series on why more leads are not always the first answer. Because if your follow-up is slow, inconsistent, or generic, adding more inquiries to that process does not fix it. It scales the problem.
Today, Tony walks us through what is happening inside that window between an inquiry arriving and a business responding, and what good follow-up actually looks like in practice.
Before we hand over, a reminder that Tony's section is delivered through his digital avatar, built from his voice and likeness. The thinking and the content are entirely his own. Now, here he is, Tony Carter, the founder of Value Recovery Systems.
Let me ask you something that most business owners do not think about until it is too late. When an inquiry arrives, a form submission, a direct message, an email, a missed call, what happens next? Not in theory, not in your process document. In practice, right now, in your business, what actually happens? Because for most service businesses, the honest answer is not enough, not fast enough. And that gap between when a prospect reaches out and when they hear back from you is one of the most expensive gaps in the entire customer value journey. Not because the prospect leaves immediately, but because of what happens to them while they wait. When someone inquires about your service, they are at a specific moment. They have a problem that is live. They have made a decision to act. They have chosen to reach out to you specifically, which means something you said or did worked. The interest is real, but interest has a shelf life. In the minutes and hours after an inquiry is sent, the prospect's mental state begins to shift. The urgency that prompted them to reach out starts to fade. Other priorities come back into focus. And if they send inquiries to more than one business, which is increasingly common, the first business to respond with something relevant and personal is the one that immediately has the advantage. Not the best business, not the most experienced. The fastest to respond with something that feels like it was written for them. Every hour that passes reduces the probability of converting that inquiry. Not because the prospect has made a decision against you, simply because the moment has cooled and the window has narrowed. There is something else happening in that window that most business owners do not consider. Slow follow-up sends a signal. Before a prospect has become your customer, before they have spent £1 with you, the speed and quality of your response is giving them their first real preview of what working with you will feel like. If they wait 2 days for a response, they are not just waiting. They are learning something about how you operate. They are forming a view of how valued they will feel if they become a customer. The follow-up speed is not a logistics issue. It is a customer value efficiency issue. It tells the prospect what to expect from the entire relationship. A business that responds within minutes, with a reply that is specific and relevant to what the prospect described, is communicating something powerful. It is saying, we were ready for you. We take this seriously. Your situation matters to us. That is the beginning of the customer value journey done correctly. Speed alone is not enough. A fast but generic response can actually do damage. If someone describes a specific situation in their inquiry and they receive a templated reply that could have been sent to anyone, the speed becomes irrelevant. The response has told them that no one actually read what they wrote. Good follow-up combines 3 things. First, speed. The response arrives within minutes, not hours. This alone separates you from the majority of your competitors. Second, specificity. The response references something from the inquiry itself. It demonstrates that a real person read what they wrote and engaged with it. This is not complex. It is a single sentence that reflects their situation back to them. Third, a clear next step. The response does not just acknowledge the inquiry, it moves the conversation forward. It tells the prospect exactly what happens next and makes it easy for them to take that step. When these three things are in place, the conversion rate on inquiries improves significantly, not because of any change in your marketing, your offer, or your pricing, but because you are capturing more of the value that was already arriving. This is why more leads are not always the first answer. If your follow-up is slow, inconsistent, or generic, adding more inquiries to that process does not fix it. It scales the problem. More leads at a low conversion rate means a higher cost per customer acquired and a lower return on every pound spent on marketing. Before you invest in more lead generation, it is worth asking what percentage of the inquiries already arriving are converting, and what is happening to the ones that are not. In most service businesses, the answer reveals that the opportunity is not in getting more people through the door. It is in capturing more value from the people already walking through it. The follow-up gap is where that value is being lost. And unlike most growth problems, it is one of the most fixable.
The follow-up gap is where that value is being lost, and unlike most growth problems, it is one of the most fixable. That line is well worth reflecting on.
What Tony described, speed, specificity, and a clear next step, those are not complex systems, they are disciplines. And disciplines are available to every business, regardless of size or budget.
The businesses that get this right are not necessarily the ones with the most resource. They are the ones that have decided the inquiry matters enough to treat it with the same care as the sale.
And when that happens, the customer value journey changes. The conversion rate improves, the cost per customer comes down, and the case for more leads becomes a very different conversation.
In the next episode, we go one level deeper, looking at what happens after the follow-up. When a prospect is interested, engaged, and almost ready, and what causes that conversation to stall before the booking, appointment slot, or reservation is made.
If this episode gave you something to think about, please subscribe and click the notification bell here on YouTube and follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And take the free customer value snapshot at valuerecoverysystems.co.uk. Find out exactly where your business stands.
From all of us at The New Era of Customer Value Efficiency, thank you for watching.